Hello, welcome back, and as always, I hope you're doing well. Right, I was actually going to do a review of Game of Death 2 this week, guys. Over the weekend, I watched it 4 times on the Arrow disc. This film is batshit bonkers, it really is. But I thought because it's new and I'm kind of excited about it, I thought I'd give Enter the Clones of Bruce a quick review, just in case any of you are thinking about going out and maybe buying it or even just streaming it and watching it. Before I get into the review, in a nutshell, is it worth a watch? Absolutely. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Probably more than I do the actual Bruceploitation movies. Right, now, cheap enough on Amazon. I think it's £12.99 for a Blu-ray. It's pretty good for a new one. And it's packed with extras. It's got 3+ hours worth of extras on here. And the documentary is about an hour and a half long. Now, I've only watched 2 of them at the moment that I thoroughly enjoyed. One was Bruce Lee and I. And that was interviews with Angela Mao, Sammo Hung, Philip Ko, Yasuaki Kurata. There's a whole bunch of them. And the other one was Bruce's Hong Kong, with Frank Jen going around some of the places that Enter the Dragon was filmed and Bruce frequented when he was alive. Obviously 50 years ago now, 50 years plus. And some of them are similar, some of them not so much, unfortunately. But still, thoroughly enjoyed it. So I've still got a whole bunch of other stuff to go through. Now, this won't have any spoilers, but it's a documentary and we all kind of know what it's about. I've got this song in my head from this thing. I keep going around the house going, he's the king of kung fu, which obviously is played throughout this, and it's from the Bruceploitation movie, Goodbye Bruce Lee. So anyway, so we know roughly what it was all about. Enter the Clones of Bruce delves into the fascinating aftermath after Bruce Lee's death. Now, we know Bruce died in 1973, and literally weeks after Bruce Lee had died, Enter the Dragon hit the screens and the world went nuts for him.
You can call it the art of fighting without fighting.
One of the biggest tragedies in film history as far as I'm concerned. He always wanted to break into Hollywood. I mean, I do wonder if he's up there now looking down, smiling, thinking, I can't believe I did all that. You know, quite amazing. Directed by David Gregory, and the film explores the peculiar phenomenon which was Bruceploitation. And it's a term that was coined for the wave of films that tried to capitalise on Bruce Lee's legacy by featuring lookalike actors and people that acted like Bruce Lee, you know, bowl haircut, the big glasses. At the beginning of it, we're sort of transported back in time to the early 70s, throughout the 70s, and that's when this genre really sort of took hold. And I bought into it. The amount of films I bought thinking it was the real Bruce Lee stuff back in the early days, and it wasn't. The real Bruce Lee being one of them, and Fury of the Dragon. We all know that was Green Hornet stuff. But obviously we can't even fathom now what the world was like. Can you imagine it? This guy has just literally blown us all off the screens. And back in the day, now bearing in mind I'm a little bit late to the party, mine was early 80s. I can't even imagine what it was like. I mean, I remember what impact it had on my elder brothers and my father. They loved Bruce Lee. They was all nunchucking in the garden. They loved Bruce Lee, but he was gone. So the world needed more. They wanted more. You know what it's like. And this whole genre of films with Exit the Dragon, Enter the Tiger, Goodbye Bruce Lee, you know, The Last Game of Death, The New Fist of Fury, Bruce Lee Fights Back from the Grave. Honestly, the list goes on. I think there's probably about nearly 100 of them. I'm not entirely sure about that though. And there was a severe lack over control over Lee's name or his image. And it was an absolute free-for-all as filmmakers tried to fill the seats and fill that void. And we witnessed the lengths to which filmmakers, producers would recreate the magic, blurring the lines between tribute and downright plagiarism, and a marketing machine that went completely off the rails. We've got some beautiful interviews, proper candid interviews, sometimes sad at times, with some of the clones. And the 3 major ones it goes with is obviously Bruce Lee, Ho Chow Tao. He had quite a sad story to tell. Bruce Lee, and that is Wong King Long, and he seems quite happy about it all, he really does. And of course, Dragon Lee. Mun Kiao Sok, please excuse my pronunciation, each sharing their journey in the shadow of Bruce Lee. And their stories are a blend of pride, Bruce Lee loves it, and exploitation. Like Bruce Lee wanted to be himself. He didn't even think he looked like Bruce Lee. Now I used to blame them, the actors, for these films. I think, yeah, trying to be like Bruce. They were sought out. It's brilliantly researched, and it's a really enjoyable documentary with some great contributions, and it's actually made me, would you believe it, want to watch some of these films. They never deliver though, they really don't. A couple of things that I think would have been nice in there. Obviously, there was no mention of Game of Death 2. Game of Death was mentioned quite a lot, and like I said before, it's one of the worst, in a sense, Bruceploitation movies, because the people that made it were involved with Bruce Lee. It was directed by Robert Klaus, produced by Raymond Chow. I know Raymond Chow done Game of Death 2 as well, and that's because Game of Death made so much money, even though there was, 11 minutes of Bruce Lee, real Bruce Lee. It made so much money, Raymond Chow just wanted to make another one. Questionable. And all the people that knew him, Bob Wall and all that lot, they all jumped in on it. Not all. Kareem didn't want anything to do with it, nor did Chuck Norris, Steve McQueen, all of them sort. Muhammad Ali even got asked. None of them wanted anything to do with it. But that's mentioned, but there was no Game of Death 2. And also, it would have been nice to have an interview with Jackie Chan, because we know Jackie Chan was in the new Fist of Fury, directed by Lo Wei, and it also had Nora Miao in it. But Jackie ended up going a completely different route, just as well he did really, because you can't really step into Bruce Lee's boots or Kung Fu shoes. You can't. And it would have been quite nice to have heard one of the Lee family being asked about all this, whether it be Linda Lee Cadwell, Bruce's wife, or even Shannon, one of the Lee family. And I'd love to have known what they felt about all this, because it was, to be honest, it was Bruce, it was their dad, their husband. I mean, some of the posters even had Bruce in his coffin on the poster. Shocking. I must admit, it's a bit bare bones in the look of it. I would love to have had a slipcase of it. And there is no book, which would have been nice, a nice colourful book. But what do you want for £12.99? It's cheap as chips. I might even make my own one. For me, this documentary is a must-own, for Bruce Lee fans as well. Now think about it. I know you're going to go, what? We've got his films, the 4 movies and Game of Death, so we've got his films. Then we've got the documentaries about Bruce, and then we've got the biographies about Bruce, Dragon the Bruce Lee story, and The Birth of the Dragon, The Young Bruce Lee, all of them, we've got them. Well, I think this sits in there somewhere. It's part of his legacy, whether we like it or not. And I'm really glad I got it. Would I recommend it to you guys? Absolutely, it's terrific. And I'm probably going to watch it later on today, again. And get through the rest of some of the extras. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It went really, really quick. And it was, like I said, it was nice to hear Samo talking, Angela Mao, all of them. It was terrific. People that knew Bruce, and they still rate him as the best still today, all these years later. So yeah, that's my sort of initial thoughts with no real spoilers. But like I said, you can't really spoil a documentary. You've got to check it out for yourself. Right, so that's my thoughts on Enter the Clones of Bruce. I highly recommend you get a copy of it. They've done a great job. David Gregory, bravo. Right, before I go, as always, if you like this sort of thing, maybe give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Don't cost you nothing, and it does help me out. Thank you everyone who's been commenting on my videos lately, giving it a thumbs up, thumbs down, don't matter. Everyone who's bought me a coffee lately, thank you all. And of course, my patrons. You guys are terrific. Thank you. Right, have yourselves a fantastic week, guys. Much love. And I'll be back with another ramble real soon. Take care now.